Hi everyone, this is your reading for the week of November 13th through the 19th. But before I get into the cards today, I have an announcement to make, and before I do that, I want to take a moment again to thank all of you who have been supporting my channel in any way, shape, and form, whether you've just been watching the videos, or you've been liking them, or commenting on them, if you've been sharing them, fantastic. Thank you for getting my name out there. And if you've been subscribing to my channel, I'm so super psyched that you feel like you're benefiting from the work that I do here. So thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. I am also wanting to really give a shout out to those of you who have reached out to me personally, whether that's through the comment section or whether you've found me on Facebook and contacted me that way. I love getting this opportunity to get to know you guys one-on-one. It's such a blessing for me to really be able to get a feel for what you're like and what your needs are. That helps me out so much, and I just love that experience of that one-on-one interaction and getting to know you. So, for the last few weeks, I've been getting a steady increase in my views and my subscriptions on my channel and all of that, which has been fantastic, and I'm so excited about that and feeling so blessed already. But then this last week, the numbers just exploded. So in the last week alone, I have gained more than 100 subscribers, and the views on my videos have really gone through the roof. I don't know what happened, but I am not complaining in the least. I am so appreciative of every single one of you. I really, really am. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your feedback. Thanks for reaching out to me. And thank you again for letting me be part of your journey. That really means the world to me. I'm just so happy to be able to provide a service, something meaningful, whether that's just validation of what you already know or confirmation for you to give you that boost, or whether that's a pep talk. Whatever it is, I'm just so happy to be of service. It's just an amazing experience, even more so than I realized it was going to be going into this. And because I'm so appreciative of all of you, I wanted to be able to express my gratitude, and so I was thinking, how could I do that? And other than profusely talking about it, I decided that for the rest of the month of November, I'm going to be discounting my services. So if you are wanting a tarot card reading, a life coaching session, or power animal retrieval, if you're local, I can also do the personal cleansings and house cleansings. All of my services for the month of November are going to be discounted by 30%. So the sale only lasts until the end of November, but if you want to schedule an appointment, you can purchase the service now, and you can schedule the appointment for December or January, whenever you want the service. So if you don't get in on my books by the end of November, don't worry about missing out on the sale. You can still get in on it. Just purchase it by the end of November, because by the end of November, the purchases need to be made, but you can schedule out for whenever you need to, okay? Also, if you are wanting to schedule an appointment with me and you're having a hard time getting on my books, because I still have a day job, so my hours doing this right now are still kind of limited. If you're having a hard time getting in on the books, let me know personally, and I will work with you, and we'll find some sort of compromise. We'll find a way to get you in, okay? I don't do recorded readings yet. I'm sure in the future I will, especially once I get more clients and I kind of can't do as many one-on-one sessions. But for right now, I'm really wanting to get to know you guys. It means a lot to me to know who you are and kind of what your needs are, and be able to put a face with a name and all of that. So if you have a hard time getting in on the books, let me know. I will work something out with you and we'll make it happen, okay? And I will put all the information that you need in the description box below, so you can purchase the service, and I'll give the link as well so you can go and schedule your appointment. And I will put my email address on there in the event that you need to contact me, okay? So that's the announcement that I have. Again, thank you guys so much for all of your support. It means the world to me. I am feeling so blessed and so humbled right now. You guys are fantastic. I love you all so much, and my heart's just overflowing with joy right now. So thank you again, and let's get into the cards for this week, shall we? Alright, so we're doing things a little different again, because like I said last week, I don't do spreads. I just kind of go with what I'm guided to do for that particular week. So starting off with Kuan Yin, the first card that we get is Tai Chi Rising, and this is the overall theme for the week, okay? So Tai Chi rising is about you reaching a spot in your spiritual evolution where your energy field is expanding and you're starting to become more powerful and your light is starting to shine brighter. And a lot of that is because of the work that we've been doing and shedding all of those things that we no longer need anymore, even the things that were hard for us to let go of. The reward that we get from that is that we're really growing spiritually. We're really starting to move forward in our lives in meaningful ways. And the Tai Chi Rising card is letting us know, it's confirmation that growth is happening, and you're probably feeling it. You're probably starting to feel a little bit more empowered. You're starting to feel like you're shining a little bit brighter. You're maybe a little bit happier, those sorts of things. You're starting to get the rewards now for all the hard work that you've been doing, and you have been working really hard. Otherwise, we wouldn't be at this point, all right? One word of caution with the Tai Chi Rising is that even though it's exciting that you're starting to expand and all of that, initially that can make you a little bit vulnerable, because as your energy field expands, you're not used to kind of housing that much power, and so you can become a little bit imbalanced. And that's kind of a theme this week. There's a lot of balancing going on this week throughout the cards. And the other thing with Tai Chi Rising that's kind of a little caveat is that as your light starts to shine brighter, you can start attracting the notice of entities or people that maybe you don't really want to attract the notice of, people that don't have your best intentions at heart, who may even be jealous because they see this growth that you're moving into, and they see that you're doing better. And not everyone's so happy about that, okay? So be cautious this week. Be aware that, you know, this is really a week where you need to balance and make sure that you're protecting yourself. And I'm not talking about sending up Fort Knox style walls, but what I am talking about is making sure that you are protecting your energy field and considering your energy field to be a sacred space, okay? So don't let people come in with their negativity and stuff like that. Don't let yourself be bogged down with any of those things. If you start to feel your energy kind of slipping, or you feel yourself getting imbalanced, take a moment to ground yourself. Go into meditation, go take a walk in nature, spend time around people who are uplifting. Whatever your ritual is, whatever it is that you need to do to help yourself ground and balance, do that. Because it's really important right now as your energy field is expanding, you're starting to shine a little brighter and feel a little more empowered. You want to make sure that you're taking the time to adjust and assimilate those lessons and all of that light and power. You want to give yourself time to assimilate it and get used to that, so that you don't kind of short circuit yourself, all right? And then some instructions that Kuan Yin gives us. The first card that we get is Princess of the Autumn Harvest. All right, so this card is about a blessing that's heading your way right now because of all of the hard work that you have done. But the thing to remember is that blessings don't always come in the way that we might expect them to. And sometimes what happens is something we really, really want, we don't get. And then we're like, well, what the heck? You know, I've been doing the work and I feel like I deserve this, so why am I not getting this? And what it actually is not the universe withholding anything from you so much as it is that the universe is wanting to give you something even better. So trust that a blessing is coming your way. Even if you're not seeing it yet, trust that it's coming your way, and don't come up with preconceived notions of how that blessing is going to appear, because it may appear in a completely different way, or you may get a blessing that's just entirely different than what you were expecting at all, but it ends up being even better for you. And that could apply to any area of your life, all right? This is not just about one area or another. It could be any area, it could be all areas of your life. But the blessings are coming in, so release your expectations and allow them to come in, and trust that what you receive is what's going to be your highest good and what's going to bring you the most joy and fulfillment. And while you're waiting for those blessings to come in, it's really important with the Nectar of the Lotus that you nourish yourself. And this ties into that Tai Chi Rising card, because you want to make sure that you're grounding yourself and you're balancing things out. And the best way to do that is to make sure you don't get overwhelmed, all right? So take time to pamper yourself, to do nice things for yourself this week, to take some time just for you. Even if it's only a few minutes at the end of your day, whatever the case may be, take some some time for you. So if that's meditating, if that's taking a bath, if it's watching your favorite TV show, if it's reading a book, whatever it is, take time for you. Whatever it is that helps you chill and relax and helps you ground and center yourself, that's your biggest priority this week, is making sure that you just take care of you, all right? And one thing too that Kuan Yin warns us about with the ivory swan goddess is that as our energy field starts to expand and our light starts to shine a little bit brighter, we can fall into these modes of self-sabotage. Old patterns may come up that keep us stuck, you know, because ultimately humans we're afraid of change. We may not like that, we may not want to hear that, but most of us are afraid of change. It's hard for us to move into these transitionary periods, to go through changes, even if they're positive, and even if we know they're positive, it can still be kind of intimidating. And so we can fall back into old patterns that keep us in the same spot, because at least this is comfortable. You know, it's that comfort zone entrapment that we were talking about last week. So what happens with these patterns a lot of times, when we start to feel ourselves getting more empowered and our light shining brighter and all of that, we're starting to feel good, what can happen is we can start feeling like, well, you know, all these things are starting to happen and that's really awesome, but I don't really deserve this. You know, I haven't done anything to really earn this. I'm not a good enough person. You know, we can start feeling like we're just not worthy, or we can start feeling guilty about maybe things that we did in the past again. And we're like, you know, I really don't deserve this. Like, this person deserves to have joy and fulfillment and these blessings way more than I do, especially if it's somebody that maybe we've hurt in the past. You know, we can look at their situation, look at ours, and be like, you know what, they deserve to be happy. I was a jerk, and, you know, look what blessings I have now. Those are old ways of thinking that not only are outdated, but they're really dangerous. They're not good for us. They're not good for anybody. We can't hold a grudge against ourselves forever, okay? So if you start feeling these sensations of unworthiness or guilt or shame coming to the surface, or maybe also if you're kind of a wallflower and your energy field expanding starts attracting the attention of people, if you've always been kind of an introvert and kind of shy around people, because not all introverts are shy, but then you start attracting notice and you start bringing new people into your life and you start getting these opportunities kind of handed to you, that can make you kind of freeze up a little bit, and you can almost become embarrassed by the attention, and it can make you want to withdraw. So that's another possibility here. So Kuan Yin is letting us know, like, these old patterns may come up again this week because we are starting to get good things flowing into our lives. And that brings change. And change is good, but sometimes we get afraid of that change and what it could mean, because there's still that uncertainty. And no matter how hard we work on overcoming our fear of uncertainty, that's part of being human, is fearing the unknown. But what's coming into your life right now is really positive, and it's very good. And you know what? You deserve it. It doesn't matter who you were in the past, what things you did in the past. If you've been doing your work to make amends, to clear yourself of those old patterns, to become a kinder person, a healthier person, if you've been doing that work, then you deserve to have these good things happen for you, okay? So don't hold yourself back with feelings of unworthiness or shame or embarrassment. Don't hold yourself back with guilt or any of these old patterns that keep you stuck in this state of feeling like you don't deserve to be happy, because you do, all right? Okay, so then Isis, for our overall theme for the week, gives us the Queen of Heaven. And the Queen of Heaven is about your own personal power and about your own personal authority. So authority is not about, you know, having control over other people around you and being able to force them into things. That's kind of what we tend to think of authority as, you know, authoritarian. But that's not really what this is about. This is not about stepping into our power so that we can overpower other people. All this is, it's us acknowledging that we deserve to just be. We deserve to be ourselves. We are worthy. We're good. We have our skills and our gifts. And yes, we have our weaknesses and our vulnerabilities. We all do. But the Queen of Heaven is really telling you that it's time for you to step into your power and into this state of authority over your own life, to not let people walk all over you, to not let yourself fall into those old habits of feeling like you're not worthy or feeling like you can't be empowered. You know, anything that's holding you back, this is really a week for us to focus on overcoming that and building our confidence, because this is a time when it's really crucial for us to be fully empowered within ourselves and to really be in our integrity and all of that. That's really important right now. Why? Because we're really moving into that new era of our lives. I think I talked about last week how it's kind of like a series of books. You know, this is not us opening a new chapter. This is opening a new volume of our lives. And so we're kind of, you know, it's never a completely blank slate, but we've done a lot of clearing, and we've come to resolution on a lot of things. We've let go of a lot of things. We've been working really hard. It's time for us to move forward, and we're going to be able to do that best by being fully in our power. Because if we're not fully empowered, if we're not claiming the authority over our own lives, we can fall back into the same patterns that were happening in the last volume of our lives. We don't want to repeat the same patterns. We don't want it to just keep being the same story. If for no other reason, then how boring is that, right? We want to keep growing. We want this story to keep unfolding in interesting and exciting new ways. So be fully empowered. You deserve that, okay? You worked so hard to get to this point. You deserve to be fully in your power and to have authority over your life. No one has control over you, and we don't want to have control over other people either. This is just about us owning our authority in our own lives, that we get to make our own decisions, that we deserve to be able to make our own decisions regardless of whether or not people agree with them. All right? And as far as counsel, Isis first gives us the abundance of Sophis. And this card is about abundance entering your life in every arena. Okay, so this kind of ties into that Princess of the Autumn Harvest, right? We've got blessings coming in. We probably won't expect all the ways they're going to come in, because, you know, a lot of times we focus on like one area of our lives. We're like, I really want this particular area of my life to get better, which means we may not see all of the abundance or notice all the abundance that comes into our lives in other ways, or we may downplay it. What Isis is really telling you is to open your perception and be aware of the abundance that's coming into your life in all areas, okay? Because the more that you recognize those blessings and you show gratitude for those things and you take joy in those blessings, because we're meant to take joy in them, otherwise we wouldn't be getting them, okay? We're meant to take joy in those blessings that we receive. And as we do that, it's that mirror with the universe. It's that law of attractions. You know, what you give out is what you get back. So the more that you show appreciation and gratitude for the blessings that you're getting, the more you take joy in them, the more that you utilize the blessings you receive to bless other people, you're cultivating even more abundance. And so even if the one area that you're wanting to get fixed doesn't feel like it's getting fixed right away, be mindful and aware of the blessings that are coming into your life in other ways, because what may be going on is the divine may be saying, okay, we need a little bit more energy, good vibes here to create this big shift that you're wanting in this area. So what they may be doing is sending you blessings in other ways to help build up those good vibes, because, you know, the divine works with those energies. You know, they work with the universal flow really well. But we're the ones who charge the energy, okay? We charge it either positively or negatively, and then the divine is able to work with that to create, all right? So if we're in a negative headspace, negative heart space, we're feeling really pessimistic or hopeless or angry or all of those things, what happens if we stay stuck in that? We're always going to have those emotions kind of pop up here and there, and that's human, and that's okay, especially if we're having to purge something. But we don't want to stay stuck in it, because when we stay stuck in it, what happens is that we're charging all of our energy with a negative charge. And so the divine does the best they can with that, but it works a lot better and things flow a lot more smoothly if you give everything a positive charge, if you can be optimistic and hopeful, if you can be appreciative of what you have, if you can find joy in the things that you already have present in your lives and the people you already have present in your lives, then that gives the divine more room to work, to bring bigger blessings into your life, okay? So it's really important to focus on the abundance that you have in your life already and that is coming in regardless of what form it comes in, okay? Regardless of what area of your life is touched first by these blessings, be mindful, be observant, be aware, and be grateful, because the more that you are, the more joy that you find in these things, the more you appreciate them, the more of that positive energy you're creating, and the more of the blessings of abundance that are going to come into your life, all right? Okay, so the next card that she gives us is the Scales of Balance. So I mentioned before that balance is going to be a big theme this week, and this is where it really starts to show up. Because what we're doing right now, we're balancing things out in our lives. We're really balancing ourselves out, okay? This week is more focused on us internally and how we respond to our external environment, all right? That's kind of what things are always about, but that's really a focus this week, is this internal balance, whether that's the balance of the masculine and feminine energies within you, whether that's the balance of, you know, your logic or your emotions, whatever, kind of however you think of it, whatever is out of balance within you this week, it's really a good time to bring it into balance. So make sure that you're grounding yourself, kind of reviewing everything about where you're at internally. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling apprehensive? Are you angry? Like, what's going on? Where is there an imbalance? And then focus on ways that you can bring everything back into balance, to ground yourself more, to feel safe, to feel happy, to feel like things are okay, and that they're going to be okay. Whatever's going to help you to balance out enough that you can move forward with faith and trust that that abundance is coming in so that you can create more of it. So that's that first area where the balance shows up. But there is also an aspect of us balancing our relationships with other people. And the first area that shows up is in the next card that Isis gives us, the Divine Sisterhood. So this card is about your tribe. It's about your community, the people that you hold dear to you, the people that are close to you. Last week, we had to let go of some things and some people, right? And we've been doing that for a while. That was a theme for a really long time, and it'll probably pop up again from time to time. But that was a really big emphasis for us for a long time, and thankfully, I don't see any cards this week that are about letting go of things. So apparently, we cleared up the last of that stuff for right now last week. And what the Divine Sisterhood is about making sure that the people that we retained in our lives, that we're having balanced and healthy relationships with them, but also, because of the clearing that we did and the changes that we've made, new people are going to be coming in that bring fresh energy, that bring new opportunities, that bring, you know, new relationship dynamics, all of that. Those people are going to be coming in, and so we want to make sure that we're balanced within ourselves, fully empowered within ourselves, in our integrity, in our personal authority over our own lives, so that when these people come in, we'll first of all be able to identify whether this is a good influence or maybe you want to steer clear of that person. And then also, if they're a good influence and you want to have more time with them and get to know them better and all of that, that you'll be able to do that in a healthy way, so that again, you won't be repeating the same patterns that we had in the last volume of our lives with unhealthy relationship dynamics. We want to move forward with better habits and patterns now going forward. So the Divine Sisterhood card is really tying up that scales of balance. We need to be empowered and balanced within ourselves so that we can be fully in our integrity and that we can be ready to have healthy relationship dynamics with other people. And that applies to any sort of relationship, whether that's a romantic relationship, a familial relationship, friends, whatever the case may be. The Divine Sisterhood card is really a more general definition, because it's really about whoever you consider to be in your tribe, in your community, okay? Okay, so with the medicine cards, the cards that we get for the theme, the overall theme for this week are Jaguar and Skunk. Okay, if you're a first wave twin flame, you probably remember these cards from last week. These are going to be continuing themes for you as well as for the collective. So Jaguar is about being in your integrity. Really important, tying into what we were just talking about, because as you're stepping more into your own personal power and your own authority, you really want to make sure that you are in your integrity, because all of the relationships that you grow and develop from this point forward need to be fully in integrity as well. There needs to be honesty and openness, communication. There needs to be respect for each other's boundaries. There needs to be, just general respect for each other and appreciation for each other. All of those things that create healthy relationship dynamics, that starts with integrity, being true to yourself. Because when you're true to yourself, you attract other people who are true to themselves, and you can work with each other to, find the areas where you're very similar, to find the areas where you're not so similar, but then compromise. All of that, you create healthy relationship dynamics when everybody is in their integrity. And with skunk, I know that's it seems like a silly card, right? Maybe one that we don't actually want to pull, but it actually is one of my favorite cards in the entire medicine card deck, because skunk is about reputation. So think of it this way, nobody wants to get that close to a skunk, right? Like, you see a skunk and you back away because you don't want to get sprayed. So skunk is about reputation in the sense that skunk's reputation precedes them, and that's what we want. Not in an aggressive way, because skunks are not really aggressive animals. They're not fighters. That's why they have that that defense mechanism of spraying people with this god-awful smelling stuff, because they're not aggressive animals naturally. All right. So we're at a spot right now where, because we're moving into our empowerment, our energy field is expanding, we're trying to be in our integrity. Those things, us doing that, being that, is what's going to attract new people into our lives. And so we need to make sure that our reputation precedes us, because that's how we're going to keep away the people that are not so good for us. All right. Because when you refuse to engage in petty arguments and all of that stuff, when you're fully empowered, you have authority over your own life and nobody can walk all over you, that you won't be controlled by anyone else. When you are balanced and you're grounded and all of those things, people aren't going to be able to get a rise out of you, So it's not going to be, they're not going to get anything out of coming after you or trying to attack you or anything like that. And the more that you stand in your integrity and in your empowerment, and you set the example, for how you want to be treated by respecting yourself first, that's going to attract the right people into your life and keep the ones that don't mean well for you, that don't have the best intentions, don't have your best interests at heart. It's going to keep those people away, because they're going to know, first of all, they can't get a rise out of you, and that you're not going to put up with their nonsense. You're not going to be aggressive. You're not going to fight them or anything like that, but you're not going to put up with their nonsense either. And speaking of the people that we want to bring into our lives, though, skunk also has this other meaning of, being able to attract those who are like-minded. Because while a lot of us don't like the way skunks smell too much, other skunks do. Those pheromones are really strong, and that attracts other skunks in. And so what we're doing in an energetic sense, and again, the first wave twin flames have gotten this spiel before, but if you're doing that and you're setting this example for how you want to be treated, and you're living in integrity and you're fully empowered and all of that, other people who are like-minded, who either are the same way or who want to be the same way, they're going to be attracted to you, so that you will have people in your life who are who are on that same wavelength. They have the same priorities, they have the same value system, and either they will be your peers right away, or maybe they'll be sent to you so that you can help them become more empowered as well. All right, because we're also starting to move into that area of our lives where people are being brought into our lives not only because we benefit from their presence, but because we now, as we're getting healthier and more empowered, we're able to be of more service to others as well. All right, so skunk is about reputation, and skunk he demands respect and he deserves respect. Okay, let your reputation precede you, so that the people who are good for you will be attracted to you naturally, and the ones who aren't won't mess with you because they know you're not going to put up with it, or they're not going to get a rise out of you. All right. And some counsel that the medicine cards give us this week. We have, first of all, prairie dog. All right. And prairie dog is about retreat. So if you find yourself in a situation this week where, you know, maybe somebody's kind of picking at you, or they're being a jerk to you, or something along those lines. They're trying to drag down your energy because they don't like seeing that you're doing well. If you find yourself in a situation like that, kind of retreat from the situation. Not kowtow to them, not become a doormat, but just be like, you know, I don't think I want to engage in this, you know. This is not about laying down and letting people walk all over you. This is about just being like, you know, I'm not going to be part of this. If you want to argue with yourself, go ahead. But I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to be part of this. That's what we mean by retreat. This is not running away. This is just backing away and being like, no, this is not my fight. You know, if you have an issue with me and you can talk about it reasonably, fine. If you're going to be passive aggressive or directly aggressive, I'm not going to play that game. That's just not where I'm at with things. All right? And that's important to do because then we have spider. And spider is about how we weave our own life. Okay, so you can either become the spider's prey and end up caught in that web of conflict, you know, or of being caught in that web in terms of allowing other people to drag your energy down or to make you feel bad or anything along those lines. Or what you can do is you can be the spider and you can weave your own life, okay? You're weaving the tapestry of your life right now. That's what we're moving into. That's the power of spider. And we want to focus on being in that empowered state, not being other people's prey, but being the spider, okay? So that we're deciding what our life is going to look like. We're deciding where we're going to set up shop and how we're going to live our lives and what things are going to, what the layout's going to be and who we let into our lives and not, and all of that. We're weaving our life right now. So it's important for us to make sure that we stay empowered, stay in our integrity, all of that, and that we step away and don't engage in needless conflict, all right? Because some people are not going to be happy about the changes that you're making in your life that are positive. Some people are not going to be pleased with that because either they want you to stay the same or because you represent something that they're afraid of. They're afraid of making positive changes in their life, and so because you're making positive changes in your life, they don't like that because it mirrors to them what they're not doing for themselves. It makes them acutely aware that changes can be made, but they're too afraid to do it. So some people are not going to be happy that you're moving forward in your life and you're doing well. And we need to be prepared for those situations so we don't get caught up in it, so that we don't get into needless conflict, and so that we can create our life the way that we want it to, with the way that we want it to be, and not be dragged down by other people's crap. Because whatever their issue is, that's their issue, all right? If you're living in your integrity, you got nothing to hide, you're being, you know, firm but compassionate. If you're being a good person, you know, if you're managing yourself in such a way that, you know, you're being in integrity, you're being kind to others, but you're staying firm in your convictions and what you know to be true for you and not letting people walk all over you. If you're staying in that spot where you're balanced between compassion and firmness, then whatever issue they have with you really is their issue. I mean, that's always the case, but in that situation where you're doing everything right, then it becomes about their issue, and it doesn't really have anything to do with you at all. So there's no reason for you to engage in it and allow yourself to be dragged down in their stuff too. I know it can be hard sometimes, but the more that you stand firm in yourself and in your own authority, the less people are going to mess with you, because they're going to realize there's no point in it. They're not going to get anything out of it. They're not going to get a rise out of you. They're not going to be able to drag you down. They're not going to be able to pull you into arguments. And so eventually they'll just stop trying, okay? So that's why it's important to retreat from these situations, to not engage, and to focus instead on creating your life the way you want it to be. All right, so moving into the tarot cards. The first card that we have is the Strength card, okay? And this came up with Judgment reversed, all right? So with these cards, the Strength card is very much about what I was just talking about, where you're being strong within yourself, but you're not being a jerk. There's no reason for that, you know? This is not engaging in needless conflict. This is being strong and knowing that you don't have to. you don't have to fight, because you are who you are, and you respect yourself, and just you respecting yourself demands respect from other people. Not in a way that's, you're not being aggressive, it's just you set that example, and you live a certain way, and you don't allow other people to distract you or pull you away from what it is that you want for yourself, and what you want to be, who you want to be, and the values and characteristics that you want to embody. So the Strength card, and I want to note here too, because it's not the traditional tarot, that his shield is like a mirror, and the monster that he's coming up against, this dragon or whatever it is that he's coming up against, is seeing themselves in that mirror. He's perfectly calm, all right? He's not fighting at all. He's just holding up that mirror. And so that's kind of what this is. It's in these situations where you might run into these people who try to start shit with you. Don't engage, okay? What you want to do is just be you, and just hold up your shield, which is a mirror, so that they just see themselves acting ridiculous. And they can fight it out with themselves all day long. They can fume over how you're an awful person and they hate you or whatever, but that's really not your problem, okay? You just stay chill, stay calm within yourself, know that you've got this and you don't need to worry about it. But the other thing to be mindful of with the Judgment reverse is, while you're being strong and all of that, make sure that you reserve judgment though, okay? Because things aren't always as they appear, all right? When people get triggered by something you're doing, especially if they're being triggered by something you're doing that's very positive in nature, what's going on is they're having an internal conflict, all right? And we're holding up that mirror to them so they can see their own internal conflict, but we need to be aware that they're having that conflict as well, that this isn't about us, that this is about them. So withhold judgment. Don't just automatically judge them and be like, you're just a jerk, I have no use for you, you're, whatever. We don't want to become that person, because that starts moving away from compassion and starts moving kind of into arrogance and thinking that we're better than they are. And that's not it at all. We're at a different stage in our development than they are. And so when we refuse to judge them and we stay in compassion, we allow more of an opportunity for them to evolve, because we can set the example. Sooner or later, they're going to see that this isn't, they're not going to be able to get a rise out of you or anything like that. And as you're setting that example, maybe over time, they'll start to realize, I want to be more like that. What do I need to do to be more like that? I hate this person, but am I just hating them because they represent something that I feel like I can't be? There may be an opportunity in the future, the near future, the distant future, where this person may realize that what they don't like about you is the fact that they see something in you that they want to be, and they feel like they're not capable of it. And in time, they may come to you, not with a conflict, but come to you and maybe they'll apologize, or they'll just start being softer in their approach, because they're being brought to you by the universe so that you can teach them a healthier way to be. All right, we don't just become healthy and empowered for ourselves. We also do this as a step moving into service toward other people. And that's why it's so important for us to maintain compassion and to reserve judgment. Because just because somebody is not in a healthy or a good spot now doesn't mean that they can't be. We should always want for that person, for the other person, to be happy, to be empowered, to be in a good spot in their lives, because that helps everybody out. If they're in that spot, they're not going to be as aggressive. They're not going to be seeking out conflict. If they're in a better spot, then we can interact with them one-on-one, and we may be able to realize that this person actually has a lot of really great attributes, because people do. Everybody has things about them that are really good. Sometimes those things can be hard to see if they're being aggressive and all of that, but everybody has good in them. So when we maintain our compassion and we just hold steady and we hold space for others by being in our integrity and not being dragged down by them or affected by them or moved into needless conflict with them, when we can just hold steady and hold space for other people so that they can evolve at their own pace, eventually what we may find is that we have a friend in this person, or that we end up in a mentorship type role with this person where we guide them into their power so that eventually they can do the same for others. It's that butterfly effect. It's always, your team is only as strong as your weakest link, and we need to remind ourselves of that, not to judge them as being weak or pathetic or anything like that, but to remind ourselves that as a collective of humanity, we are that chain. And so we're only as strong as our weakest link. So if you're in an empowered state and you're in your integrity and people aren't liking that and they're coming after you and they're, being jerks to you, we need to remember that this person is doing this because there's something within themselves that they're not happy with, that they know on some level needs to shift, but they're not prepared to face that yet. But that doesn't mean that they won't, and we need to set the example so that eventually they'll get to that spot where they realize the shifts and changes that they need to make as well. That's part of our purpose. That's part of our role, is being of service to others, and sometimes the only way we can be of service to others is to set the example, all right? So being your empowerment, being your integrity, but be compassionate. Always be compassionate, always show mercy, always understand that people are just at a different stage of their personal development, their evolution, and we need to be patient with them. We don't have to kowtow to them or be a doormat to them, but we don't have to be a jerk to them either. We don't have to completely cut them out and treat them like they're nothing. That's not healthy either. We always need to maintain that compassion. We always need to set that example so that sooner or later the hope is that that person will also come around and they'll be able to get to the spot of evolution, that stage of evolution that you're at now. All right? And also, it's a reminder to us when we run into these people of how maybe we used to be as well. Because I'll be honest, I had lots of times in the past when I was really judgmental of other people because they represented something that I was not and I wanted to be, and it made me mad that someone else was. I did that myself a lot in my early 20s, and as I've gotten older and gained more experience, I've been able to move out of that. But every time I encounter somebody who is that way, who is in that spot of being judgmental or whatever, it reminds me of how far I've come, and it reminds me also to be compassionate and patient with that person, because if I can make these changes and I can move more into feeling empowered, not being judgmental and being kinder to people, if I can do that, then so can other people. All right, so that's another important thing for us to remember, is to remind ourselves that maybe we were in that same spot at some point too, and that we grew out of it. And so there's every chance in the world that that person will be able to at some point as well, especially if we set the example and we continue to be kind to them. All right. The next card that we get is the Lovers, and this is tying into those first two cards. Now, normally the Lovers, people see this card and they're like, oh, romantic situation. This could be linked to a romantic situation you're in, or maybe you're more spiritually evolved than your partner is. But the feel that I got from this card was really that this involves any interpersonal dynamic that we have with other people, any one-on-one relationship that we have with another person. I see, especially with this card, because again, not the traditional tarot, but there's kind of somebody standing in between the two, and then there's an angel, behind them all. And I feel like this is kind of, that person in the middle and that angel are kind of a mediator type role, okay? So I see this person standing in the center kind of as our higher selves, reminding us that we need to be that mediator, to bring balance into the situation, to make sure that things stay as calm as possible, that they don't escalate needlessly. And that angel is a literal representation of the divine doing the exact same thing, kind of overseeing things and trying to bring more balance and harmony into our relationships with everybody, whether that is your romantic partner, or maybe it's one of your parents, or a sibling, or a friend, or a coworker, or some random person that you meet on the street that maybe wants to be a jerk for reasons unknown. This is about us making sure that we're always bringing balance into all of our interpersonal dynamics with other people. Our higher self is that mediator between our ego state and other people's ego state. And the divine is overseeing that, and helping to cultivate energies that will bring balance in as well, but we have to do our part, all right? Okay, so the next card that we get is tying into that reserving judgment, okay? Because we get the Ten of Wands. So this is a completion card, but you're also really tired because you've been working really hard, okay? So we ended out that last volume of our lives that we were on, and we're starting to move into the next one. So this is a completion card. We finished out that book. It's time for us to move into the next book, but we're really worn out, okay? And that can make us feel imbalanced. That can make it, especially if you just really stepped into your power for the first time and you've cleared people out of your life that weren't good for you. Maybe they were toxic, or they were trying to drag you down, or maybe, they represented some aspect of yourself that you didn't like, that you've worked so hard to not be anymore. And we can become kind of oversensitive in those situations when we encounter people who are of a lower vibrational energy, or who do represent aspects of ourselves that we've tried really hard not to be. And we're too tired and worn out from all the work that we did to want to put up with it. We're just, we don't want to put up with it. And so we immediately just cut those people off because we don't have a tolerance for it, okay? So this ties into the reserving judgment, because we need to, again, remember where we came from. Remember where we were at on our own path not so long ago, when maybe we were still manifesting those same characteristics as, as these people are in their interactions with us. And so, yes, we've completed out that book. We're ready to move into the next volume, but we're always going to run into people that aren't at the same level of spiritual evolution. And we need to reserve judgment, again, because we need to understand that they're still growing as well, and that they have just as much of a capacity to get to this stage of evolution as we did. And so we need to be patient with them. We don't have to carry their burden, because with the Ten of Wands in the traditional tarot, that guy's got a ton of weight on his back that he's carrying around. We don't have to carry anything like that anymore. We can set it down. We can do things one step at a time. We don't have to carry the full weight of the world on our shoulders. We don't have to carry all of our baggage that we had before. We set that down, right? And so when we interact with people who have that same baggage, sometimes it can be a reminder of all the baggage that we set down, and that can make us feel weighed down in and of itself. We're like, I can't do that. I can't even be around you, because just seeing your baggage freaks me out and makes me remember what it was like to carry all that weight. And so there's this temptation to be judgmental of that person, to cut them out completely and refuse to interact with them at all, in any way, shape, or form, to think of them as a jerk, all of those things. But we need to remember that we're not carrying that same baggage anymore, and we don't have to carry their baggage. If they try to shove it off on us, we don't have to carry it. But we also don't have to be triggered just by the fact that they're carrying baggage that looks a lot like the stuff that we just set down. All right. So again, reserve judgment. Be patient. You don't have to carry the weight of anybody else's baggage. You're not carrying any more of the stuff that you set down either. But, leave things open, because at the end of every cycle, at the completion of every cycle, another cycle starts. All right. So this person may finish out this book with you on a negative note, but halfway through the next volume of your life, they may end up being an ally. They may end up being a friend. So don't just immediately discount people as being horrible or useless or being a bad influence, because they're going to continue to grow too. And you never know who in the future you're going to end up being friends with. Because I've had lots of situations like that before in the past, where the first time I met somebody, I was like, I don't like this person, because again, they represented something of myself that I didn't like. But now I'm really close friends with that person, because they've grown and I've grown, and now we've met in this middle ground where we benefit each other, okay? So be mindful that that may happen halfway through this next volume of your life, or maybe just a few pages in, for all I know. You may end up finding benefit in being around this person. Something may shift energetically, something may shift and change, and all of a sudden this person goes through this growth spurt, And now they're at that same level and you're able to interact with them in meaningful ways that are very positive for both of you. So leave an opening for that. Just because this is the end of one cycle, don't think that that's just the end with everything. Sometimes you're going to, in your next cycle, you're going to interact with people in meaningful ways that you never imagined that you could in the past, and that can tie into that the Princess of the Autumn Harvest card, where the blessings coming in don't always look the way that we expect them to, and sometimes that can come in relationships with people that maybe we didn't like in the past, but then something changes and we realize that, oh, this person is really awesome, and they end up being our best friend. Leave the possibility open for that by staying compassionate, all right? The next two cards we get are the Two of Pentacles reversed and the Hanged Man reversed. All right, so this ties into it too, because again, the balance is a big thing for us right now. So if we're interacting with these people who are confrontational or whatever the case may be, not a positive interaction to have with this person, we can feel out of balance because, again, we just went through this process of setting down this baggage, and it's like, I completed this cycle, so why am I being continually faced with things from this old cycle? Don't get caught up in that idea, okay? This is, part of it's still that you are balancing things back out, all right? Or maybe you're balancing things out in a completely new way for the first time as you move into this next volume of your life. We just finished up the last book. Everybody kind of knows the first couple chapters of the next book. It's kind of a recap of what the first book ended off on, right? So that's kind of why balance is a theme right now, is because we're going through that recap in the first couple of chapters. So that's part of it. And the other part of it too is, again, related to what I was talking about with the Ten of Wands, where somebody that's not in the right headspace or heart space now to have a meaningful relationship with you may end up being able to have a meaningful relationship with you in the future. So maybe that's why they're still there. Maybe that's why they're still present in your life. Maybe that's why they're present in your life right now for the first time, is that they're going to be meaningful to you at some point in the future, but you're not quite there yet, all right? And that Hanged Man reversed ties into our perception, because the Hanged Man takes a step back and he flips himself upside down so that he can get a different perspective. With this card, him being reversed in this situation, at least, this is about not getting that fresh perspective. It's about being so wrapped up in that idea of, well, I finished out, I completed that cycle. Why do I still have themes of that last cycle still occurring in my life? Being really caught up in that and wrapped up in that and becoming imbalanced from it. That's why the Two of Pentacles reversed and the Hanged Man reversed came out together, because that imbalance is what's causing us to lose perspective, to not be able to get that fresh look at things, all right? And the instruction that we get from the divine, first we have the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles is about patiently waiting for the seeds you've planted to grow. You're starting to see, you're getting opportunities, abundance is starting to come to your life. You're starting to see those seeds sprout and grow, but they're not blooming yet. There's no fruit or vegetables or anything coming from them yet. So right now it's just kind of the beginnings of a plant. But we have to be patient. Okay, so this is about patiently waiting for those seeds to fully develop, to fully come into their flowering or come into their sustenance providing state. We need to be patient and wait for that, okay? Sometimes our impatience is what causes that imbalance. Again, the first couple chapters of that new volume are a recap of what happened in the last book, all right? So we need to be mindful of that and just wait. It's about to get really good. And we're starting to see that it's getting good, but it's about to get really good. We just need to be patient and wait for it, okay? And the final card that we get is the Wheel of Fortune. So that Wheel of Fortune is related to the cycles in our lives, all right? So this is a reminder that this is, the beginning of a new cycle. We completed at the last one, but now we're in the beginning of a new cycle. And the Wheel of Fortune also ties into karma, and we have karmic ties to everything, everyone that we interact with. So that also ties into the relationships that we left behind. You know, we completed our karmic contracts with those people, but some people, you know, are still in our lives, and we're having to kind of recalibrate the terms of our karmic contracts. Some people are coming into our lives for the first time, and we're developing those karmic contracts with those people that are new in our lives. And some people that we may have potential for conflict with, if they're still in your life, it's because there's something karmic there. There's some sort of tie that you have to this person where they're not meant to be out of your life yet, okay? Trust yourself. You're gonna know if this person is somebody who has a purpose in your life or not, okay? We've done so much clearing and, you know, cutting ties with the things, places, people that we weren't growing with anymore, that weren't contributing to our highest good anymore. We've done so much of that work. We know what it feels like now when a karmic contract is due for completion and we know that we need to cut ties. We know what that feels like. And so, you know, that's another reason why we're reserving judgment and we're, you know, retreating from the situation so that we can get a clearer look at it, so that we can know if this really is something that we need to cut ties with, or if this is a person that we need to be patient with and just kind of see how things grow and develop, because this may have a meaningful purpose, whether they become your friend or whether they just serve as a lesson for you. You're going to know the difference if you tap into your intuition, okay? So just be mindful of all of that. Again, just as a recap, our energy fields are expanding. We're really stepping into our power for the first time. Well, not the first time, but at a whole new level, okay? So balance is really important. Again, standing in your integrity, having authority over your own life, setting the example, letting your reputation precede you, creating the life that it is that you want for yourself, not engaging in needless conflict, being compassionate with people, and just kind of flowing with things and seeing where it all goes. All right, that's the theme for this week. That's what's going to be really important for us. We finally got to a point where we let go of stuff. Yay! So now we're moving forward and creating new connections and balancing ourselves out in entirely new ways and really stepping to our power and our integrity and our reputation on a whole new level. All right? So that's what I've got for this week, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.